What is good, YouTube? It is your boy D Murray, and this is D Murray Reacts. We react to your favorite videos, Reddit posts, and news. We are back at it again with another video for you guys this week. Please remember to hit that like and subscribe button. We really appreciate it. Hit that notification bell so you know when the videos are dropping. We're doing this 2 times a week. We thank you guys for checking us out again. Today we have an Am I the Asshole for telling the kids their dad took this year's Christmas away from them. Well, that's rough. I don't know why you would tell them that. The first line, as a matter of fact, says, "Please read before you judge. Thank you." So I'm gonna read, and I'm gonna definitely judge the shit out of this because that's a hell of a thing to tell your kids. I don't know why dad would take a Christmas away from them, but maybe y'all are separated and something happened. So we'll have to see. So they start off, so I'm a working mother of 3 kids, 9, 11, and 5. My husband used to have a job, but was let go at the end of 2020 and hasn't worked since then. Yes, he worked in a few places here and there, like the gas station, but he couldn't keep it because he lacked motive and passion. Whew, that was rough. I'm going to tell you this, just based upon what I've just read initially. If you told your kids that it's their dad's fault that they're not having a Christmas this year because you're upset with him about his motive and passion, take in mind, I haven't read the rest of this. You are an asshole. That is something that you take up with your kids. That is not something that your 9, 11-year-old and 5-year-old, as I'm seeing, should even be remotely a part of. They should have no type of conversation with you or your husband about something like this. Like, this is a you and your husband thing. Now, a lot of the people are saying that you're not an asshole. That's what you were voted. So we'll see. And I may be jumping the gun, right? It said, please read before you judge. And you even thanked me. So, I'm judging a little bit immediately just because, that's a little crazy. But, all right, so all in all, our financial situation isn't so great, but I've decided to start saving money to be able to get the decent Christmas celebration the kids wanted and couldn't get in 2019, 2020. So I'm guessing both years you guys were having some issues there. So I put some money aside to buy decorations and prepare meals and also gifts. But a couple of days ago, found out that my husband had taken $500 out of my account and from the money I saved. The rest of my salary goes to bills and groceries, and gave them to his little brother to help him in child support. All right, so if your husband did that, your husband is definitely an asshole for that, especially if he didn't say anything to you. Let me remind you people once again, having separate bank accounts, then your significant other does not fix financial issues. If anything, it sometimes causes more financial issues than you originally had. And that goes back to some other videos that I've done previously where people tend to think that that's the case. That's a side note from this. But once again, we see the whole my account, your account. Apparently he was able to take $500 out of your account. So, let's be clear about that. But definitely should have said something to you. But I still stand by my statement. That don't have nothing to do with your children. That ain't got nothing to do with your children. That's between you and him, for sure. It involves your children. But once again, stop having these conversations with your 5-year-old, damn it. It's not a thing you should be having. I found out and had a big argument with him about how he essentially stole this year's Christmas from the kids to help his irresponsible brother pay for child support. My husband apologetically said he had no choice and was pushed by family to contribute and pay part of his brother's child support. Otherwise, they won't see their nephews, grandchildren, since his brother's baby mama is vicious and spiteful. Sometimes, there'd be some spite and some viciousness. The kids came in and I just told them unfortunately, I can't afford Christmas this year. And it's because of their dad who took it away from them by taking the money I saved. That is why you're an asshole. I can understand you being upset. I can understand you wanting to not make it seem like you're the bad guy. But as a parent, it is not on you to take things that are adult situations that you are personally going through with your spouse and place those on your children. I can understand that you feel like you don't want to take the blame. I get that. But just up until this point, I can tell you right now, extremely inappropriate. And some people may not agree with me on that. Some people might be like, nah, he did what he did. Those kids need to know. But once again, they are children. And it is not on the children to be dealing with whether or not their dad gave money to their quote unquote irresponsible uncle because grandma and grandpa said everybody needs to chip in. Like if you heard what I just said, you can see how that's not an appropriate conversation for children. And thus the reason why even just saying to them that their dad did what he did is completely inappropriate. You don't even have to go deep into the details to know that a 9-year-old, an 11-year-old, and especially a 5-year-old shouldn't have any type of conversation with you about what their father did with the money that possibly was going to pay for Christmas, right? So just so that we're clear, I think that's not something. I don't think that that's something that you do. There was utter silence, and my husband glanced at me in disbelief. I know he did because I can almost guarantee you did this right after, like immediately after the argument. If not, like kind of during the end of the argument, you did this, which shows me your maturity level, unfortunately, because that's completely inappropriate for you to do. Don't do that. He told the kids to go to their room and screamed, asking, WTF is wrong with me to spout this kind of BS in front of the kids. I said it's the truth and that I sacrificed so much to save money to give the kids some joy this holiday. And then he selfishly took the money and gave it away, which he did. I need everyone to know I'm not arguing that he didn't make a horrible decision and that he is not an asshole in this situation and is completely responsible for everything he's done. But you are doing what you're doing out of spite. That's what you're doing. And you're involving your children in that because now they may feel a certain kind of way about their dad because you want them to, right? But if you guys end up being okay by Easter, just know what you did during over Christmas break, right? Know what you were responsible for. Not appropriate. Still, doesn't matter. We can continue to go through this, but I don't think that you're ever going to bring anything to me that shows me that any of this was appropriate. Him being upset, I understand why he's upset, but he should be mad at himself for a lot of this, right? So he said that he would pay me back in time. What are we doing? Pay you back for what? Pay back the money to the family because you both share it. Stop splitting your money up, people. We got to stop this. This is I can't believe so many people do this. I didn't know that this was a thing. I had no idea that this was a thing. It's just crazy to me. But I don't see that this is possible since he doesn't even have gas money. But he should though because y'all are married. What is going on here? He got pissed and said I shouldn't tell the kids that he took their Christmas money and that the psychological damage I'm doing to the kids is worth a lot more than money, and accused me of turning the kids against them and making them resent him for trying to help out a family member, and stormed off and spent time with his family, who accused me of causing the children mental trauma by saying their dad took Christmas away from them and alienating them. We're gonna come back. We're going to come back to that. Adding, just wanted to say that the kids know mommy is the money. I don't even understand what she's saying. I'm thinking she's supposed to say person, but mommy is the person who brings home money. So if Christmas gets canceled and because of the money, then they'll think it's because of me. I had many conversations with them about it. And last thing I want to see them is disappointed in me for something that is not my fault. Congratulations. Let me give you a golf clap for that. Congratulations. Your children don't think that it's mommy's fault. They think it's daddy's fault. And in certain cases, we can say that, yes, it is. It is daddy's fault. Now, this is only based upon what I know to be the truth, based upon what you're telling me. I don't know what your husband's side of the story is. I don't have any other information other than what you're telling me. But I'll give you the slow golf clap because you did what you set out to do, which was to allow your children to know that it ain't your fault. But you know who doesn't benefit regardless? Your children. So not only do your children know that it ain't your fault, which is fine. But now they also think that their dad is a piece of shit. And then on top of that, they still don't have a Christmas. So it seems to me like we've accomplished 3 things here. And 2 of those things are really bad. And one of those things is still bad, and it's bad on your part. You cannot include your children in a situation like this. You just cannot. First of all, I have to make this very clear. Your 9-year-old and your 11-year-old have a general understanding of the situation, but I can, from personal experience, now being a grown-ass man, I can tell you that me at 9 and 11, my perception of my parents' relationship and things that happened, all of it was completely wrong. A lot of things happen in relationships between mothers and fathers that kids know nothing about, and it's good that they don't know anything about it because they're children. Your 5-year-old definitely doesn't equate you being the breadwinner in the family. So it's not even like you not even like you told the 5-year-old to go watch TV while you have a conversation with the kids that you believe are old enough to have this conversation with. You included the 5-year-old who doesn't know who the hell is doing anything in the house. This is why you're inappropriate. This is the reason why you have done something that you're not going to be able to take back, and you may want to take back later, unfortunately. It's not for your kids to have this type of conversation with their parent. You could have come to your kids and said, unfortunately, we had some issues in the family that are not going to allow us to have the type of Christmas we wanted to have with you guys. We love you. We want you to know that we're still working hard to try to do what we can for you. And we're going to do our best to take what we have now to make it the best Christmas we possibly can. And maybe I'm talking to his mother. And this is aside from what I'm saying. Maybe I'm talking to his mother. Maybe I'm talking to his father. Maybe I'm talking to whoever it is I can to make sure that we can get the proper amount of money in that was taken so that we can take care of the situation for the children. But instead of you being the adult, you decided to act like a child and then treat your kids like adults. I don't know that that's what you intended. And I don't want to think that you're a horrible person, because I don't. I think that you found yourself in an extremely frustrating situation and you have some issues with your husband that are completely aside from of this Christmas situation. I would like to believe that him not having a job and off and on, and he works at a gas station and you feel like he's not motivated. All of these are things that you can't control and are issues that you have with him. And unfortunately, what happened is that this was the last straw, and then you decided to include your children, genius. Parents, do not do this. I'm not saying I'm the best parent. I'm not saying that I'm going to be the best parent, but I know well enough to know that this is not a conversation that you have with a 9-year-old, an 11-year-old, and a 5-year-old. I know that there are other ways for me to explain to them that things aren't working out the way they're supposed to without placing blame on anyone, especially my spouse, because I am the adult. It is on me to make this right. If my spouse is acting like a child, it is up to me to act like an adult, not also be a child. This has kind of rubbed me the wrong way, because this is the type of thing that divides families and makes kids feel a certain kind of way about their father or their mother. This is the type of thing you see when people play their kids against one another. This is that type of situation. And unfortunately, I think that you guys are closer to not being together possibly than you are to being together, because instead of having the conversation that you had with them, you should have had a conversation with your husband about his quote unquote motivation and passion that you feel like he doesn't have. I think it's crazy that people said that you're not the asshole in this situation. I think it's crazy that people condone this type of behavior from someone who's supposed to be the adult. You are the person that is setting the example. If your husband is not setting the example, it's not for you to point that out to your children. It's for you to explain to your children how to be good people, and then for you to deal with your husband separately, because your children are children. That's the way that this actually works. I ain't no psychologist. I'm not a therapist. So I ain't telling you that I've been to school for this. But I've been around long enough, and I have children to know that there's certain things that you have to do as a parent, as an adult, to make sure that your children grow up to be decent human beings. And one of those first steps is for you to set the example, regardless of whether the other people in your house are or not. That is what you are there to do. And unfortunately, in this particular case, you allowed your anger and your spitefulness to involve your children in a matter that they shouldn't have been. So when your kids don't get what they wanted, or the situation ends up being bad once Christmas comes and goes, just know that if there's any spitefulness from your children against their father, that is on you. And if that's okay with you, if you feel like that's in any way appropriate, you are showing us the maturity level that you have. Now, if your husband wrote this, I would wear his ass out too over this. So this ain't me just trying to get at her specifically, only based upon the fact that you're the one that wrote this is the reason why I'm coming at you, right? But if he wrote his side of the story, either way it goes, I'm getting at him as well. But in the end, both of you are the parents. It's up to both of you to make the right decisions. And in this particular case, he didn't make the right decision. And then after that, you decided to get your ass up and also not make the right decision. And your children are the ones that suffer. They're the ones that suffer. You and him, y'all end up going ahead and working it out at some point in time, maybe. And then you're hugging and kissing and everything is love again, but yet your children have now been involved in this situation and they're looking at a particular parent a particular way because you said so. I bet if the shoe was on the other foot, you wouldn't be too happy if that was what was done to you. So I believe you are the asshole in this situation. I think your husband is the asshole in this situation. And I think your children aren't better off for because the both of you are assholes. I think that it's time for both of you to grow up. And if you think you're grown just because you go out and you make the money and you pay the bills, that's fine. That is a part of being an adult. That is not just everything that is included in being an adult. If you do those things, but you don't do the things that are necessary to raise good children and not be spiteful towards your spouse in front of them like that, then that's also another part of being a good parent. But it's not good if you're just paying the bills, but then when you feel like you need to, you include your children into something that they shouldn't be included in. So I like this one. I felt a certain kind of way, and I still do, but it is all good. Everybody makes mistakes. So I'm not saying this can't be fixed, but sometimes people need to understand that when you have more than 1,000 people saying that you're in the right, that doesn't necessarily mean that you're in the right. It doesn't. Maybe they would also be some spiteful, angry people as well. That should also grow up. So we want to thank you guys for checking us out again. We do this 2 times a week. You got to remember to hit that notification bell so you know when the videos are dropping as well. Like and subscribe. Liking helps the algorithm. We really appreciate it. If there's anything else that you want us to talk about, please hit us up in the comments. You can hit us up at social media. You can also hit me up by email. All of that is in the bio. We want to thank you for coming out again. I am D. Murray, and this is D. Murray Reacts.